So why is this game called The Last Spell actually worth talking about right now? The game basically just wrapped up its whole story arc with a third and final DLC earlier this year. The game crossed its 5-year mark last month. And on top of that, it's sitting on a solid discount on Steam this week. So kind of a lot happening for this little indie game. This video is intended to walk you through what this thing actually is, the major changes and improvements since it first showed up, because it has been a while, and who this game is worth grabbing for today. A very quick look at the setup. Mages tried to end decades of war with the Forbidden Ritual, and instead nuked half the world with purple magic. So cities got wiped out, a mist rolled in, and it spits out monsters every night. So the only plan left is finishing a ritual called The Last Spell to banish magic for good. But actually casting it takes days of uninterrupted work from your mages, and you're the one keeping them alive while they do it. So gameplay wise, this game splits into day and night. During daytime, you are essentially rebuilding your haven, buying gear, leveling your heroes, and figuring out where to put walls and towers. At night, of course, the monsters show up. This happens in waves and you're fighting turn by turn. You're trying to protect a magic circle where your mages are working. If you lose that circle or you lose your whole squad, then the run is over, and that's for good. There are no do-overs on that attempt. Now the combat here has more going on than it looks like at first. For example, what a hero can actually do in a fight depends entirely on their gear. So if you swap a bow for a wand, then the whole skill set changes. So building a character is really about stacking stats, perks and gear together. And yes, you will lose runs early on while figuring this out. Your health and mana don't fully refill overnight. Armor regenerates but very slowly. And the mist itself closes in as nights go on, eating away at how much room you actually have to fight in. By the later nights you're managing a shrinking battlefield, with probably tired heroes and dwindling mana. And that's honestly where most of the pressure comes from. Between fights you're leveling heroes through a perk system. There's 1 point per level up, all the way through level 11. The choices are ranging from common to rare, letting you build your own version of each character over time. You also pick omens before a run even starts, basically bonuses that push things in different directions each attempt. The game has 5 havens total to defend, each with its own layout, and 6 apocalypse difficulty tiers, if the normal challenge stops cutting it. Now here's the part that actually matters most for this video, what has changed. This game went into early access back in 2021 and hit its full release in March 2023, so it already had 2 years to grow back then. Since then, the game picked up 3 paid expansions, which also all came with a lot of free side things. First was Dwarfs of Runenberg, then Elves of Emberwald landed in 2025, adding a forest map that shifts its own paths to mess with enemies, 3 new weapons, Dual Claws, a boomerang, and a 2-handed magic flower weapon, and a set of plantable seed defenses. Then this past February, the 3rd and final DLC dropped. This one is called Tales of Torment. That one adds this mysterious new deity character running an altar. You get nightly objectives and modifiers that earn you memories, and you can spend those on the strongest gear the game's ever had. But honestly, the free side of things is just as big a deal, because pretty much every DLC launch came paired with a separate update that hit everyone, whether you paid for the DLC or not. For example, there was a full rework called Apocalypse 2.0, plus something called Essence rerolls. Once you unlocked enough, you could spend a resource to reroll your perks, level ups, and item rewards instead of just accepting whatever you got. On top of that came a round of weapon and perk balancing for the base game. Then with the recent Tales of Torment, the free update added new Apocalypse difficulty tiers, upgrades for your siege weapons, and another big pass of balance changes. So even if you never buy a single DLC, the base game itself has kept getting reworked and improved for free. The game also picked up actual mod support for perks. This is again free, and the community run with it. For example, there's a mod rebuilding a chunk of the tactical systems, and another one that works almost like a full map editor, letting people add custom maps, units and items. For a 5-year-old indie title, that's a very decent development history. As of now, the game has sold north of 750,000 copies across all platforms, and with all the 3 DLCs out, their story is technically done too. There's no 4th expansion coming, so if you do like turn-based tactics with real permadeath, and you don't mind losing runs while you learn the systems, then this game hits pretty hard honestly. The same goes if you're into loud metal soundtracks, because the game leans into that hard, and it fits the horde fighting really well. Of course, if you're coming for a story though, then you should dial back your expectations, because there's barely any past the opening setup, and a couple of odd mystical side characters. Your heroes don't talk to each other, they don't have arcs, they are more like interchangeable soldiers. A full run through a haven takes around 10 hours. Once you've got the basics down, down. Then the early game gets a lot easier, enough that many people crank up Apocalypse difficulty just to feel challenged again. If you do that across all 5 havens, then the repetition can start to drag, unless you're chasing harder difficulty or new DLC gear. But right now for this price tag, the game is pretty easy to recommend.